Today is all about an incredibly special book, as it is also about an incredibly special person. An incredibly natural writer, a 5-time author, his random forays is his popular column from the Hindustan Times, and as many of you know, he's also a TEDx motivational speaker. A wonderful speaker, but the best father. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it from the author himself, Vivek Atray.
Thank you so much, Priya. The chief guest, Mr. Gaurav Yadav, distinguished speakers of the day, Major General Bali, Dr. Balram Gupta, Manraj Grewal, and though I've known you for varying number of years, as was mentioned, I'm really delighted to see all of you here. Mr. Yadav is one of the busiest officers in the country. He runs a police force which has faced many challenges. Not easy to come for a book launch even on a Sunday afternoon, and he's here. I'm very grateful, sir. And I also remember the time when we were at the IT Park of Chandigarh together, and if I can tell an incident to the audience before I start, there was a very senior officer from the SPG with the PM, and he was saying something, and you were the SSP Chandigarh and you had another point of view, and I was witness. You held your ground. You did not budge, and the IG had to relent. And I look up to you for many things since that day. So round of applause for Mr. Yadav, please. And very nice to have your company again, sir. General Bali is probably the wittiest general I've met, though I've met many witty generals and many witty army officers, and he exceeds himself every time he comes on the mic, and I'm sure he'll come up with lots of books. I believe you all have only 1.5 till now, sir. So more books on the way, and look forward to your presence look forward to my presence at your book launches in future, so that I can pay compliments more in detail. Dr. Balram Gupta, I have grown to be so fond of, and although I know him from so many years, but he's always so warm with his words, so witty, so delightful as a narrator, and he's the guru of many of you in this hall, I know. So fantastic to have your company, sir. You exude that charm, the old world grace, and the way you are is just so inspiring. Fantastic to have you here, sir. Manraj is a good friend, and I must put it very precisely. This is 24 years and 10 months. And that is because I joined this Chandigarh administration in the March or April of March of 2000. And before that I didn't know you, and I didn't know most of you here in the hall, except Nina and my children, and some others whom I knew before 2000. But most of you I didn't know. And that's why Chandigarh has grown on me. Very happy to see you here. I also would like to acknowledge the company of Lieutenant General Dipender Singh, who is now 95. And fantastic to have your company here, sir. General Bali was talking about his 95-year-old mother. I and Colonel Chima called on you a couple of days. I extended this invitation, half hoping that you'll be here, and you look very dapper and very smart. I'm sure people after the launch is over would love to get some pictures clicked with you. Sir has been the MA to Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. In the movie Sam Bahadur, his role was played by a tall young Sardarji, who was probably a little taller than you, sir, but not as tall in stature. And fantastic, really, really humbling to see you here. It's really nice to be able to be in your presence at times. Senior and retired officers of the defense services, of the civil services, serving and retired, of the defense services and the civil services, distinguished guests, members of the family, dearest friends and ladies and gentlemen. The reason I wrote my speech today is because a book is launched once in 3 years, and typically I don't write my speeches, but today was an important enough occasion for me to work hard. And if I work hard, then I do better than when I don't work hard. And I've been working hard on my writing. It's not easy to come out with a book. This is very humbly my 5th, but it's a 2nd collection. 3 books which I wrote with great effort, and 2 books which are collections put together, which as authors in this hall know are easier to produce. because they are, you have already written over the years something and you put it together seamlessly or not so seamlessly and you bring it out. The thing is here that these episodes have started many years ago, and some of them are even dated, because when I talk of things like iPods or pagers in 2000, I don't think we had pagers then, they were before, but there are some of them which are a little outdated in many ways, but only a few. Many of them are universally applicable even today. And this tarif pe tarif that most of the speakers, all of the speakers showered on me, reminded me of Mr. Trump, who talks about tariff pe tariff. And we should not mistake that for tarif pe tarif. The India-Pakistan match cannot escape my speech. Mr. Bali and General Bali and Dr. Bali, with all due respect, I think I love cricket even more than both of you put together. I mean, I'm claiming that. And for me to have this book launch on the India-Pakistan Day is simply because I did not realize, and I should have checked the schedule, but here we are and here you are. And in fact, I must say, though it was not my desire, it was not even my plan, but it did cross my mind that because of this match, maybe I should skip my own book launch. But here I am. And India is doing pretty well, so we're fine. Actually, India is close to my heart. And we represent an India here, which Mr. Vivek Atray is in the front row. He says, ye Mother India. Ye India hai, wo Mother India hai. That Mother India which we see out there in the villages, in the towns, in the shanties, in the transport areas, in the Kumbh Mela, in various places, that is India, and I write about that India. I do write about this India as well, and I think most of the humor comes from this India. But most of the empathy and most of the socially relevant articles that I write, which nowadays I write in my column Random Forays, and that book is called It's Still a Wonderful Life, the one which has compiled some articles of that. That is about India as a whole. Now, why the middle of everything? Why is this book called that? There are various reasons, and of course it's a collection of middles, and Manraj very lucidly explained what middles are. And even though they don't find place in the middle of the edit page anymore, I believe one of them has it on another page, most of them have it on the side, most of them have them vertical, they used to be horizontal or whatever. And the Times of India used to allow people like me to write in the same space, the third edit, where exalted writers like Mr. Suraiya and Ms. Karkaria, they write over there. And one of them which was published and which Kavya read out, A Yawning Divide, is actually a chapter in the Maharashtra School Education English book, without my permission. But they did mention that the Times of India depicted are from, so they credited the Times of India. And I was pretty happy when a classmate of mine phones me up, Vivek, your article is a chapter in our Maharashtra School Education book. So I said, this is pretty proud moment for me, they're reading my chapter. And so my sister, both of them could not be here for very compelling reasons. They are the twins that Dr. Balram Gupta mentioned as being identical and that mistaken identity. They've been here at all my book launches, but today they are forgiven because they have important reasons. So my sister, one of them, wakes up at 4 in the morning. And the other one, I won't say who she is, but another relative is in Delhi and wakes up at 11. So that's how they are, that yawning divide. And the Maharashtra board teaches this chapter and asks questions. What time does the author's sister wake up every day? 2 marks for that. And I'm like, during COVID, I see these videos of Maharashtra teachers, and Atrays are actually supposed to be from Maharashtra, so I'm not making fun of them. Teaching my chapter and making a hash of it. And I see these videos of people teaching on the blackboard, whiteboard, whatever, and they're trying to explain that yawning divide. And what I did was to make a video of my own. And I explained that chapter myself. So if you ever happen to see my channel, you'll find a yawning divide explained over there. Now, middles also mean the middle of everything also means that we are in the middle of everything at every day, in every day of our lives. And we have left a lot of things to be here today. All of us are living these lives which are entangled. And we have these tentacles around us. And people are we're not sitting under a tree and meditating all the time. We have all these shackles. And yet we have to somehow unshackle ourselves and do the things we most want to do. But otherwise, as Socrates said, and I keep quoting this one, beware the barrenness of a busy life. And that busy life is manjar zameen, nothing grows from that. So we have to find time for what is closest to our hearts. And to see all of you here on this Sunday with all the compelling reasons for you not to be here is really warming my heart. I'm very thankful to each one of you. Also, the middle refers to, sometimes we have the middle sibling. And in Bengali they call the brother who's in the middle the Mejda. Mejda. And Paramahansa Yogananda, the author of the autobiography of a yogi, the book which I love and follow and my family follows and we meditate on his teachings, he was known as Mejda. And there's a book called Mejda about him. And that's the only book about Paramahansa Yogananda, written by his younger brother. And he writes in his autobiography of a yogi, he doesn't write about himself actually. It's not an autobiography, it's about everybody else, everything else. So that Mejda is very close to my heart. So that middle brother, that middle sibling can take heart. I'm sure some of you are middle brothers and siblings. So sisters or brothers. I am luckily or unluckily the oldest one in the family. I mean my brothers and sisters. And some of you may be the youngest ones, but some are in the middle. Also, all of us have middles sometimes in our middle ages, and these develop into paunches, and फिर कहते हैं बहुत paunche हुए लोग हैं, तो वो भी होता है. But doctors will tell you to keep a watch on that middle, and also cricketers know the middle, and when you're out in the middle, then that is when Jal Bali is also a leg spinner, that's why he's smiling more. And deceptively easy to hit, but not very easy to hit. Leg spinners. And the middle of life basically denotes that being in the thick of things, and that's what I wanted to talk about. And writing middles, how does it come? Where do these middles come from? And many of us are middle writers here. Do not middle men, if I may say so. Many of us are writers of middles, and I think I've also heard about Mr. Sarup Kishan, who wrote so many middles for the Tribune. And he actually, when he left his body, as we say spiritually, when he left his body, he was actually writing a middle. So he went in the middle of that middle. And it was very touching, and recently we lost Mrs. Sarup Kishan also. But he was an iconic writer. There have been many great writers of middles. I mean, I really don't claim to be a great writer of middles. I'm just observant. And when you write middles, you think about them, and they don't come to you by compulsion. They will not come to you as a column. I write a random forays for one paper which I have to write every fortnight. So I start thinking about that column a few days before that. And it comes to me also. But a middle will come to you spontaneously, typically. So one could write a middle, that's not mine. One could write a middle on the view from the stage, which I can see here. I can see you. You can see only 5 people, if I can count correctly. And I can see countless people here. So more interesting is the view from the stage. In fact, there is a middle in the book called The View from the Stage. And the title of the book was actually going to be The View from the Stage. But then various forces compelled me to put the middle over there. And I think it was a good idea, despite opposition. Moods, places, work pressure, anything can affect your writing. Sometimes you're in the mood to write better, and sometimes you're not in the mood to write better. But I have learned from a very senior writer, whether you're in the mood or not, when you got to write, you bloody well write. And when you write, you can sit down later and improve it when you're feeling a little more literary, but get down to writing. And when you get down to writing, especially when you're writing a book, you do come up with something. I have written one of my novels, I think it was Dubeji Bounces Back or Move On Bunny, in 20-minute installments. So director IT park, meeting, ye wo, beech mein 20 minutes. Very difficult. How do you weave that thought process together? How do you get yourself into the zone? Of course, you can be in that zone in the chief secretary's meeting also, thinking about your next writings. He doesn't know that you're thinking about it. You just have to be smart enough to come up with the right answer. And mostly in a meeting, it is like, अच्छा तुम बताओ. तो अच्छा तुमने बता दिया, उसके बाद आप बैठे हुए हैं. But why do you listen to other people? You think about your own book. So I've done that as well. And no explanations were called for that. I think this book is close to my heart because it showcases a lot of my writing journey. And some of the middles were I think, written in 2004, 5, so 20 years ago. Some of them were written very recently. And about 95% of them are published, some are unpublished, but that's how they are. And the spectrum is pretty wide. They are diverse. And that's why I talk about everything. But there are so many other things we can still write about. I mean, we heard so many tidbits from the middles. And by the way, as a writer, as a lover of words, let me enlighten some of you who might think that the spellings of tidbits are T-I-T-B-I-T-S. They're not. They are T-I-D-B-I-T-S. I love this language. I love languages. And I love this fact of falling in love with languages. And that's what, coupled with that observation, that spirit of putting together something that you've seen and noticed, that person whom you met on the train or the plane or the airport or in office, and you came up with something. I met so many people in my very charming career, I would say, because I was charmed by the society. And they would come with these rustic or non-rustic, very, very glitzy ideas as well at times. And they would come and they would present themselves, and one would learn so much from them. Many of you here I met in my office for the first time. And then that office was a place where lots of people would barge in, and some would come invited and some uninvited, because I was the director PR. And one would meet so many people there. And it really helped me to write later. So I'm not going to speak very long, but just close with a few thoughts. And must say that, the humorous side of my personality, I'm quite a serious person otherwise, you know me. I'm not a stand-up comic. These are two different things. Some people think that comedy and humor are the same thing. They're not. Comedy can be slapstick. You can have jhala jokes. But a humor writer has to have a bit of wit, a bit of charm. Writing is permanent. The spoken word is ephemeral, it's gone. You may record it, but nobody's going to watch it much in detail. The written word is there for all to see. So I think there you are challenged a little more. So if you ask me to come up with a comedy act, I can't really do that. If you ask me to write, I'll be able to. So Nina, my wife, who was on the stage for the book launch, and we met in 1986. In 1986. And now you know my age as well. घर भी जाना है. नहीं सही बोल रहा हूँ. 1986, when she came in the first year and I was in the third year of college in engineering in NIT Kurukshetra. And Manraj already mentioned that everybody doesn't know this, by the way. So she came, and the first thing she liked about me was my writing. I don't know whether she'd seen me by then or not. She probably had. But she preferred my writing more than me. I used to write for the Vulcan, which was our college magazine, once a year. So I wrote 4 articles in 4 years. No big deal. She loved all 4 of them. She read the previous one. She loved it. So she saw something in me as a writer. And when I joined the service after my father passed away and whatever happened, and then I joined, for 10 years I didn't write. And the service life, it just engulfs your mind. But then I started, and she kept taking me on. Write. And it kept me sane, it kept me going. And they would be published for some reason in top newspapers. And I have been published in all the 4 main dailies published here, many a time. In fact, I wrote to Mr. Pabi's here. I wrote a column for Indian Express on the World Cup. So I would write a daily dispatch on World Cup matches in the 2007 World Cup, where we did disastrously badly. But that is the column I wrote for about 40 matches or 35 days. So finding that time, and then Nina would egg me on to write them. So you know more about the number 56 than I do. I mean, you came up with things which I had never thought of. And let me confess that it just happened that it was 56. And I'm not 56 right now. There's no reason for it to be 56. But my previous book, Finding Success Within, does contain 52. life skills. So that had more reason. But you came up with delightful nuggets. Thank you so much for that. Right, I think I shall close. I do want to also add that, yes, P.G. Woodhouse, Manraj mentioned, also my Nanaji, who's mentioned in that he held her hand, first chapter of the book. And my Nani was very sweet, and he would come up with these jokes, so witty. And one example, and that's where I imbibe these, I have many witty friends here, but I must confess I imbibe them from there. He would say, Vivek, go and get the dust from the stars. Now, the dust from the stars, I'm looking at him, sir, Nanaji, what? Daddy ji, we used to call him. Kya dust from the stars? It's a Stardust magazine, yeah. I'm like, where does he come from? So where did that come? Stardust used to be a very popular magazine. He would read it before any of us. And that's how the wit and humor was around me, and it just, readers, friends, colleagues, family, above all family, and the family is here. Very nice to see all of you. Some of them are not here, but that's what life is about. Lastly, I think I'll talk about love, because love is what really makes the world go round, and I think all of us are trying to show ourselves of being less loving in this era. But the human nature is actually full of love. And God is love, and love is God. And that love is within us. And we're all very loving people. But because we are hoity-toity and very proper, and we have to be officers or whatever we have to be, or wherever we are, the CEO or the editor or the general or whatever we are, wherever, no particular pinpointing. We're all like that, and we become very plastic in our reactions at times. That warmth, it recedes. So it's good to let it flow, because life is fleeting. And we need to hold on to that love. And Yogananda said, when I'm gone, only love can take my place. What a quote, what a thing, what a fantastic inspiration. I was very lucky to interview Rajnikant recently at Chennai. He's a fellow member of our spiritual order, and Swami Chidananji, the president. And Rajnikant is so humble. We have all these Rajnikant jokes, and I wanted to tell him one of them. Where he was like, he was Rajnikant, I can't tell him his joke, right? So he was so humble, so sweet. And that love was emanating from his personality as well. So time for gratitude, family, friends, senior and junior colleagues who are here, people who've been helping me with the writing career and this book particularly, all the literary circles we are part of. We have Novel Bunch and Vibrant Networking Forum here. We have Fern Tree Publications. Hardeep Chandpuri ji, son of Brigadier Chandpuri, the hero. And Hardeep is my publisher for the second time. And I have not been loyal to any of my earlier publishers. I change them every time. But this time I've been loyal to the publisher of last time. So that shows he's a good guy. And also the one who's printed it, Rahul Goyal, is here. Thank you, Rahul, for that. And Kavya for designing the cover. And Spreha for hosting the day today, and family, everyone. Also want to recall the blessing of my parents. They left very early when I was quite young, and they're still with me. And the Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda, he says, everything can wait, but for your search for God cannot wait. So on that note, thank you all.
Thank you so much for that heartwarming speech. As we come to the close of the event, I would like to invite Mr. Hardeep Chandpuri, publisher from Fern Tree Publications, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, a huge thank to all the dignitaries. Thank you. A bigger thanks to all of you. If there was a prize for being the bravest literary person ever, that should go to all of you for having lost out on the few overs of the match, but still being here. So we are so grateful to you all. And thank you to Vivek ji for having chosen Fern Tree as the publisher for his second book with us, and the fifth in all. We hope to create even more magic in the years to come. And thank you all very much. Thank you.
May I please request the dignitaries to be presented with a token of our appreciation and gratitude.
So one for you. We take a group photo? So, just close up a little.
Please wait a minute. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. You've been a wonderful audience, and it's been a true pleasure to be here with all of you. I hope this evening stays with you long after you've left the hall, as I hope that the book stays with you long after you've kept it down. Thank you so much. Your presence here means a lot to us and our family. Please join us for high tea outside.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you.